Now, after the abduction of those 209 girls from Chibok in April 2014, there was a global groundswell of condemnation fronted mostly by individual women icons, like the former American First Lady Michelle Obama and former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. In Nigeria, pressure was being exerted on the then government of Goodluck Jonathan by the Bring Back Our Girls movement, championed by the likes of Minister of Education and due process advocate Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, Aisha Yesufu, and Aisha Oyebode. The past 6 years have been an ebb and flow of emotions around the Chibok girls' story, and the recent piecemeal return of some of the girls, now in the mold of fully fledged women, has come to remind all of the tragedy playing out. And now to take up discussions on the Chibok story and the developments that have ensued recently is joining us live now is Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, founder or co-founder of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Good to have you join us, Doctor.
How are you doing, Ekene?
I'm very well indeed.
Hello, good to see you again.
Yes. Just want to ask you off the bat, should we be in a mode of celebration? Because we recently are hearing of not just one, but other Chibok girls are seeming to be returned, albeit with children, and in one case at least, a husband in tow. And then we hear of 1,000 Boko Haram militants surrendering. Is this a cause for celebration?
No, there's no husband in tow. Nobody gave a Chibok girl out to anybody in marriage. So I have to correct that quickly. On the substantive question you asked, on whether we should be celebrating, it's a double-edged one. We should be in the shoes of the parents, the three parents of Ruth Pogu, of Saraya and Muta, and of Hassana Adamu. We should be in their shoes, where the only thing they know now is that they can actually touch their daughters, they can hug them, they see them. They are not going to be looking out endlessly, waiting for them to come home again. So for those three parents, for their sake, for the sake of those girls that have gotten their freedom, we should be ecstatic, actually. However, we should worry that 7 years after, our government has not been speaking to the parents of these girls on whether there is still a rescue operation for them, that even their return is shrouded in a lot of opaqueness, and that the main issue that made us as Bring Back Our Girls to stand on for these girls for this number of years, which is that a government has a duty to citizens, and that when things go wrong, citizens are entitled to information on what government is doing, just persists. It persists. A lack of an indifference to what citizens think or feel, a lack of sense of accountability for a situation that caught global attention because everyone was shocked that there could be a country where such number of school children were carted off from their school and there was no information on them. There was no information on what their government was doing. For more than 3 weeks, government of Nigeria said no word about these girls when they were abducted in 2014. I mean, it's unbelievable that this is the country we have.
Well, you say this is a double-edged sword. Clearly a reminder of the failure of government and security operatives to find these girls. And on the other hand, I suppose a sliver of hope to other families that their girls could still return. But let me ask you, because despite all of this, some will say these girls that have just returned perhaps hold the clue to where other girls could be. What would be your advice to the Nigerian authorities at this time? What should be the next step with these girls?
Well, Adesua, our movement has been saying this from the time that Amina Nkeke, the first Chibok girl that showed up. I recall how for many months after they were abducted, and then a year after they were abducted, and 2 years after they were abducted, and we kept standing and saying, find these girls. People said to us, oh, you're dreaming. These girls are gone for good. Don't bother yourself. And then one day, Amina Nkeki was found loitering in the forest, and the military found her and then identified her. They took her home. Her mother fainted upon seeing her. And for us, it was like, oh my God. So finally, it is correct. What we believe is correct, that, these girls can be found. And the key message that we had for government at that time was, look, have a proper debriefing with Amina and Keke. There would be clues as to what to do concerning her classmates. You read through the statements of Bring Back Our Girls over the years, my goodness, you would see the consistency of our interest in just asking the government to do the things that are very logical, the things that you would think any capable state should be able to do. So to your point that, a debrief with Ruth, with Saraya, with Hassana is important. It's a very strong one, but will it happen? And when it happens, would the parents of Chibok girls, the 109 of them that remain held hostage by terrorists, would they hear anything from their government? There is a complete lack of responsibility on the part of government, because the way that it has been done is that, when this kind of a tragedy happens to a family, they're on their own. You've seen it in the cases that we see around that have, proliferated. And, in this matter of proliferation of the abduction of children, especially from their school, you can see that it's basic economics of, not punishing a bad behavior and then opening up a market, an industry for that bad behavior. That's what we've seen. It's become an epidemic. It's a well-organized market now to do kidnapping, to do abduction of school children, because the abductors have sensed that the government of Nigeria either does not have the political will, or when it has the political will, lacks the capacity. But I often say that it's a mix of both. There is an indifference on the part of government to the sufferance of the citizens, especially because in all the cases that you see, the victims of these school abduction are children of the poor. So the society considers them as not being as important as when a single child of someone within the elite class gets injured or gets killed or gets abducted. And that is not how to be a society. It is so wrong. It is abominable, actually, because it's your poor that matter. The rich, the okay, can take care of themselves, but your poor have to be at the center of everything that you think of. Your policy has to center around your poor. And I find it totally unacceptable that we are a society where the poor are not just left to their own design, but they are, in fact, the government, in fact, gives signals to those who would do something to them to go ahead and do so, because there would be no consequence. How can that be an acceptable, it's not even a value construct. It's actually just, I don't know. It's this lack of interest in upholding the dignity of the human life. See where it's brought our nation. See where it's brought us. Life is less than zero.
Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, we still feel your passion and we hope you don't relent. And we do congratulate you and others who have stayed on this course, waiting for all our daughters and children to be accounted for. Thank you for joining us on Newsday. Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, co-founder Bring Back Our Girls.